I'm Robert Roth from Unit D, and this is my initial presentation of my first semester second year project, which took place in Blackpool. I decided to deal in marine life. This is a look at the history of Blackpool. It is known for its transient population due to domestic tourism. It's like a second Brighton, is rivaling Brighton. This is a look at the site. Two site sections. It's the North Pier in Blackpool specifically, and then I took a look at the structural integrity of the pier, as it is quite old and derelict, and now is on top planning to build through the pier, so it's quite important to understand how all that works. Look at the stakeholders, quite a lot of protected species in Blackpool, right? I put these stakeholders into the system of the food chain. It is important for dealing with the ecosystem holistically, which is the main narrative of my unit, for making a positive change regeneratively. I decided to deal with the planktons, as pretty much the whole of the local environment depends on them directly or indirectly, and then a couple of institutional and corporal stakeholders that would also be involved in the project, for which I looked at these materials on the top. They're all for regenerative design, locally sourced, also for design for deconstruction, which is the main point in the project, for a temporary 3-year span design. And then the design would be a microbiology laboratory for releasing GMO plankton into the Irish Sea, which is too polluted for normal plankton to survive long enough for replacement rates. These are the spaces I would need for that. And then I took a look at how a passive house design would be accomplished. And that's what the initial iteration of my design looks like. It's quite simple and boxy at this point, but it served its purpose for all that stuff. This is a look at the accessibility via lift, as building a ramp would not be very viable through the pier. The beams are just too close to each other. This is a site visit, first-hand research about the cultural, urban, and other contexts of Blackpool. This is a more localized version of that. This is a look at the environmental context, which is very important, as there is a high tide, which could have major implications on my design, as I would be below the pier as well as above. Solar analysis, site survey. My design ended up being a rather parametric one, which would look like this. It's a hexagonal design for a radial layout, which is more pragmatic for operations. I took inspiration from New York staircases for an external escape route staircase kind of thing for fire safety and as a second means of access. This is what that would look like. There are some more context sections, which also count for lighting during the night and the day. Look at how some of these materials would come together precisely. This is how the interiors would be laid out vertically. These are very dense designs, so it's important to define those. This is the structural design of my building. I use tensile cables with temporary connections for distributing loads in the old pier structure, vertical and horizontal loads, that is. A bit more of that here on structural plan. And then it's about 1 to 20, looking at how these materials actually behave for the passive house design, as well as ventilation and thermodynamics accounted for as well. Final plans, final sections inhabited, night lights, exterior lights to fit the nightlife theme of Blackpool, which is a cultural aspect, the experience of the building, and then the final drawing. Thank you for your attention.